Right, this is a short video that I'm going to address to the police, especially in my area, but in general also. I mean, but I'm talking about the police in my area, in my town. A couple of weeks ago, I was giving these leaflets out, basically explaining about the Tetra system they use, emergency communication system. Also the paramedics and the firefighters use it. It was brought in the 90s after they got rid of the analog systems. Tetra is basically it's microwave. And I was giving these leaflets out a couple of weeks ago, these just information leaflets with Dr. Barrie Trower on the front there. You can just see him there, you just make him out with his bio underneath. And basically what he's doing is explaining how the system that they're using is giving a lot of them illnesses, especially cancer, right? Amongst other illnesses, and there's a full list of them on here, on a lot of them anyway. It's not concise, but it is quite a list. And basically, it wasn't very well done. All I'm doing is, as I said, pointing a few things out to them and giving them pointers the way to look on the internet. For instance, Dr. Barrie Trower, microwave weapons expert, by the way, worked for US Navy Intelligence, Navy Intelligence, British I believe, but he was also a microwave weapons expert, 30 years experience, and he was commissioned by the British government and the Police Federation to write a report called Tetra 2010, and he released it shortly after. And basically, and I haven't mentioned this to many of the coppers that I give this sheet out to, but the government and the Police Federation suppressed it. Why? Because they didn't like what he was saying. He was telling the truth, basically. And their little get-out clause was that it was basically still in its experimental stage till 2018. So that was a blatant cover-up. Also, there's a little article at the bottom there by Tim Riffat, where he's basically explaining that the system operates on the same pulse frequency, which is somewhere around, I believe it's 17 hertz, 17.6 hertz, right? And basically it's the same pulse frequency as the CIA's MK Ultra program. Now, I would imagine a lot of coppers were laughing in the boots when I give this out, but then at the end of the day, that's down to ignorance, or ignorance, as Mark Passio says. You should emphasise the ignore part when you talk about people in ignorance, right? Because when you present facts to them, right, the truth, and the truth basically is immutable, it's out there, you know, it's unchanging, it's just you've got to go and look for it yourself. And I guess a lot of people at the end of the day are too lazy to get out there, especially the cynics. Right, well, that's the highest form of intellectual cowardice, because they're too lazy to go and check for themselves. Right, they'd rather trash the information you're giving them, or usually it ends up in an ad hominem attack against the individual that's doing it. Well, I couldn't give a shite personally. I mean, it's not me or my family at the end of the day that's being nuked. But these coppers in the hubris and arrogance can't see the wood for the trees, basically. And I'm pointing it out now. I mean, the guy, he's got 30 years experience. Why would you laugh at something like that, you know? I mean, maybe some of them have checked it out, I don't know. But it wasn't long after, a few days after I was giving these leaflets out, all of a sudden I'm getting knockbacks. They were very willing to accept them at first, right? But then all of a sudden, I don't know whether they've had a little crack on amongst themselves and talked themselves out of it, right? It's not my problem at the end of the day. I'm just a conveyor of information, that's all, right? You can't take it with what you will. You know, it's up to yourselves. But what I'm saying to you is this: all you police and paramedics and firefighters out there who are going to go down with cancer, it's only a matter of time, with tumours or some other form of debilitating illness, right? Then there it is, you know, there's the answers, you know. And what I'm doing it, as I said, I'm just passing on information to you. You know, I didn't kill the messenger, but I don't know, some people, especially it seems the police, are in a state of cognitive dissonance. They don't believe that the government or the, you know, the round head honchos would ever do something like that, right? Well, at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's just willful ignorance either, but as I said, there's the information, right? Dr. Barrie Trower, you can go on YouTube and check his videos, right? He's perfectly credible guy. And as I said, his full bio's there. I mean, he was government training. He's got a bachelor's, he's done dissertation, B.Ed in honours, lots of research, commissioned to write the Tetra report for the Police Federation, the report into the death of Officer Neil Dring, for Dr. Ian Dring. There we go. So, I'm just pointing that out to you again, right? Put aside any prejudices, any bias. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you think of me. I don't give a shite personally, but I'm not doing this for the fun of it. So any of you coppers out there, or any of you paramedics or firefighters that I give these sheets to, I hope you did go and check it out, you know, and make your own minds up. But it seems to me, I mean, I did get a certain response of some of you, where, and it's a typical response, not just from police, right, but from the wider public as well. You know, when you point these things out to say, well, what can we do about it? Well, the operative word's we, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, how many coppers are in this country? You know, how many? Yeah, I'm surely, you know, you've got a union. You know, you can make noise. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's about empowering yourselves. You know, you just sit and take it because you didn't think there's anything to be done about it. What, are you suicidal? Huh? So I'm pointing this out to you. Make something of it, you know, if you will. I mean, it's very detailed, especially on the back, that excerpt on the back, right? Which tells you the illnesses and the different frequencies that cause those illnesses. This has all been well researched, folks. R&D on this has gone into the tune of billions of dollars and pounds over decades, right? It started off at the Tavistock Institute, and then it spread over to DARPA and the US military, right? They know exactly what this is causing. They know exactly what it's all about. It's a Trojan horse, right? So, as I said, it's up to you. You know, I'm not there to hold your fucking hand at the end of the day. That's my message to you. I'm going to leave it at that. But once again, I'm going to give some more of these leaflets out. Knock them back if you want. I couldn't give a shite, like I said, right? But I hope you have some savvy, you know what I mean, a little bit discernment, and you actually care about yourselves to want to prevent this, you know. But I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you watch it and take notice.
It's another experiment where they are looking for cancer. They are looking to see how the frequency affects the brain. It is totally undeveloped, not tested, and Tetra is an experiment. And in one of the government scientists' documents, to date, it is written that now up to 7,000 officers today could have slow-growing brain tumours, the gliomas or acoustic neuromas. Up to 7,000 could have very slow-growing tumours that take 20, 30 years to develop. So it won't be until these officers, be it ambulance, fire brigade, police, MI5, MI6, secret services.
Thousands of trains?
Yep.
Added in Denmark?
Yep. It won't be until they are retired that the brain tumours will show themselves. It can cause severe personality changes, including severe aggression and bad behaviour. And it's just an experiment, and all of these things are being monitored as an experiment. And it is illegal. The Nuremberg trials were being held in Germany. It was agreed, all the major powers agreed then and signed what was known as the Nuremberg Treaty. And it says that no human being anywhere may be experimented upon at all without his or her full consent. And before they give consent, they must have a full knowledge of the trial. They must have a full knowledge of all of the risks, and they must have the ability to say no without any fear of losing their job or anything. And not one police officer, like I said to you, with one country, one person invited the whole communications industry in, one person for the police force signed to say, yes, we will have this. I wrote 2 of the safety reports on Tetra for the police, and in both reports I condemned it as too dangerous. The government overruled me and said, no, this is going out. And my reports are on, one of them is on Google, the other one is on something called WikiLeaks. Have you heard of WikiLeaks?
Yeah.
One is on there.
As an addendum to that video that I've just done about the microwave, right, there is a related issue actually. I've just checked it out in this shit sheet, right. Basically, and again, Barrie Trower goes around the world doing talks on this stuff, right. He doesn't make this shite up, right. Now this one just confirms basically what he's saying and many others are saying, right. They're giving a warning, right. Teenager kills herself in cry for help over allergy to Wi-Fi, right. She ain't the first one, she's not going to be the last. There's going to be many, many more. Why do you think these academies, right, are all being wired out with Wi-Fi? Again, it's Trojan horse technology. Now, you've got in here, and I'm just looking for the part here where it says, basically the government, the Health Protection Agency, says there is no scientific evidence linking ill health with electrical equipment where radio frequency exposure is below safety guidelines. Well, who makes the safety guidelines, right? You know, they're doing exactly the same with Fukushima. Worldwide, all the ratings agencies, right, automatically upped the threshold for the safety data, right, on when Fukushima blew up, right, because they knew there was going to be massive readings of all kinds of isotopes, radioactive isotopes worldwide, right, and that's exactly what they did. All of them together, right, basically, and you could tell it was orchestrated. They all did the same. They all upped the levels, the safety levels, right, to make it look like it was still okay, right. Meanwhile, everywhere is contaminated. Worldwide, this is, by the way, right. Like iodine 131, basically saturating the soil and everything from Fukushima. Worldwide, in fact, it was, I believe it was the only country that actually gave out a warning to its population. France, right, told its population not to eat any dairy product because the cows were eating the grass that was contaminated, not to eat any dairy products for at least 6 months, right? Well, again, but this kid here, teenager, bless her, kills herself in cry for help over allergy to Wi-Fi. A schoolgirl killed herself in a cry for help after developing an unbearable allergy to Wi-Fi. It's not an allergy. We're being fucking attacked, right? It's as simple as that. You don't get anything or nothing, right? Everywhere you go now, there's Wi-Fi in restaurants, pubs, right? In buses, trains, everywhere, right? There's no way you can escape it. Now I keep telling my kids, right? If you're not using the Wi-Fi now, you better still do what Barrie Trower says and just get a lead running from your PC to your phone socket, and you save yourself a heap load of misery, right? The Wi-Fi routers, right? This is why also the argument is, you know, a lot of people say, oh, my Wi-Fi router, I can't just turn it off because the providers, the internet providers tell you not to turn it off. Well, now we just point something out to you. A Wi-Fi router, right, it's got an on-off button on the side. That's what it's there for. On, off. So you turn the bastard off when you're not using it. You're getting nuked, man. The whole house, it permeates everything. It goes through concrete, everything, right? It goes through walls. It goes through us. Well, imagine if you sat us where we are basically now in one big microwave oven. There's no way you can escape it. And this is what I'm pointing out to coppers as well. Tetra is actually a multiplier. It's like a force multiplier, right? It enhances that worldwide. There's thousands, tens of thousands of these transmitters all over the country now. And in just this country, by the way, it's everywhere. It's stealth technology. It's stealth weapons, right? You can even download a report. It was found on an IBM photocopier years ago called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, right? And this is part of an agenda, right? And again, I'll point you to Barrie Trower, Dr. Barrie Trower's work, the Tetra report 2010, where at the time he said there was between 7,000 and 8,000 police personnel gone down with tumours. Where were the tumours? Where the hotspots? Where the radios were, right? So it's undeniable, and yet this bunch of cretins, right, and they're not the criminals actually, the Health Protection Agency say that there is no evidence, right? No, they choose to overlook the evidence, ignore it, right? Because it doesn't suit their agenda. This is what you've got to understand. Now this kid here, and this is you're not sad, you know, that this happens. And again, according to this condition affects 1 in 20. It is not allergy. It is a kind of hypersensitivity, right? But we are all suffering in a way we're just not aware of it. And you see cancers exploding, right, exponentially all over the country and in other countries as well, right? And yet you ask yourself why this is happening, right? Do you ever ask yourself? Cancers were relatively unheard of in the 1800s, right? Now they're exploding. In fact, it was these same shit sheets, right? They were telling you just a couple of months ago, 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime, right? First it was 1 in 3, now it's gone to 1 in 2, right? They ain't got crystal balls, right? They know exactly what's going on, right? This is what I'm telling you. 1 in 2 people, half the population, is going to have some form of cancer in their lifetime. Why? Because they're putting fluoride in the water, they're bathing with a microwave, right? They're putting all kinds of shite in the foods. This is what you've got to understand. And you know, this isn't some kind of it's not benign, right? It isn't benign. This is real, man. This is how it was planned a long time ago. It was Henry Kissinger that said control the food supply, you control the population. But it's much, much more than that. They've got shite in the vaccines, right? Now again, I'm getting back. I'm going off the subject here a little bit here, but this girl, right, hanged herself because it was a desperate plea, basically, right? The teachers totally ignored, right, because they're brain dead as well. Basically, well, we've got to admit this, right? These teachers are nothing but statists, right? The statists, the order followers, right? They're just like them coppers and military and all the rest of them, right? They've been brainwashed, right? And now, what I'm saying to you is this. They were putting her in detention, right? Forcing her into the same room that was making her ill, right? In detention, time after time. Why didn't the parents pull her out of school? There's such a thing as home education. I've always pointed this out in my Sidwood video, right? Home educate. There's no law saying you can't pull your kid out of school. All you have to do is write a note to the headmaster, the headmistress of that school saying, I'm pulling my kid out of state curriculum, right? That was the easiest thing to do. Instead of watching the kids suffer, right? The parents suffer, right? And then eventually you culminate in her hanging herself, right? Now that's sad, but there's also a desperation, you know, there's a desperation behind it, and you know, desperation because there's people like Dr. Barrie Trower and Tim Riffat and others trying to tell you what's going on, and it's falling on deaf ears, right? You've got to start waking up to this and start basically looking into it, start opening your ears, right, and your eyes, asking questions, right? Believe me, this poor kid, and again it says condition affects 1 in 20, yet nobody's listening. It's all bullshit, right? According to these, there's no such thing, there's no evidence. No, they're lying, they're covering up. There's more than enough evidence. Go and listen to Dr. Barrie Trower's videos, watch his videos on YouTube, read his report, and you'll find that out. I won't leave it at that anyway. And just for the police and military in general, as an aside to the video about the microwaves that I was telling you about your Tetra system, right? What I'd like you to do, I'm inviting you to go on YouTube, right, and watch a video by Mark Passio, right? Now he does a video, basically it's called the Cult of the Order Followers, or the Cult of Evil, right? Now you can watch this on YouTube, right? I've got on my presentation page as well, Presentation TV 100, got on Google Plus and YouTube, right? But Mark Passio does many videos, fantastic guy, does videos on natural law, and basically the cults, the different cults, secret societies that are involved in the big agenda, and which permeate all organisations, all agencies, all governments, and basically they're everywhere, right? The tentacles spread everywhere. But he talks specifically in this video seminar, right, which is an eye-opener, right? It's going to be challenging for you, but at the end of the day he talks about the cult of evil, or the order followers, right? Now the order followers he's talking about specifically are the police and military, right? And you really need to open your eyes about this, right? Because I'm going to tell you something, right? There's also another video that he does called, I believe it's the satanic mockery of the order followers, or the police and military, right? You'll find that video on YouTube as well. Do you know what they call you? They're dogs, right? They're dogs, or they're pets. I mean, the average citizen out there, right, the average individual, the population, they're called the dead, right? Well, you lot, the police and military I'm talking to specifically, are the house slaves, right? I mean, they call us the dead, but you, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't think that for 1 minute that costume that you put on somehow elevates you to a higher consciousness, or a higher, or as a higher authority. That's all an illusion and all, right? And basically what he's basically spelling it out. You're an order follower, right? You take orders, and absent any conscience, right, that you might have, you will follow those orders without even asking questions, right? That's the sad part about it. And this is how every atrocity throughout history has been committed, by people just following orders, right? And he does an excellent seminar on it, pointing out how these order followers, right, such as yourselves, basically abdicate any responsibility, moral responsibility for what you do. And you really believe that your actions don't cause any harm or suffering, right? But again, I'd like you to check those videos out, right? And it might just open your eyes a bit. And, anyway, I'll leave it at that.